Hey, what's up? This your boy Big Man. You already know what it is, man. So let's get right to it. Okay, man. So it looks like there's some good news coming out that No Limit camp, man. Or what used to be called the No Limit camp. I don't know what they're calling themselves these days. I know Master P got his own thing going on, but I know a lot of the rappers who used to rap with No Limit back in the day, man, a lot of their careers went into shambles. I'm going to just keep it funky, man. A lot of them are not to be heard from or seen since the No Limit documentary, man. When they did the No Limit Chronicles, that brought life back to a lot of the artists who were previously on the old No Limit label. Now, a lot of light was shined on the cases of some of the artists that were down with No Limit. Two of those people being C Murder and the other being Mac. I have to be honest, today we're going to be talking about Mac. And Mac was one of my most favorite artists on No Limit. I'm going to be for real, man. I know it might be cliche to say that now with the good news that's coming out today. But to be honest, when it came to No Limit and actual lyricists that you can feel, man, Mac's album Shell Shock was probably one of the best albums they ever released. It might not be one of the biggest selling or the hottest selling, but it's definitely one of the best in my opinion. Now, Mac got some good news today, man. Now, it's looking like Mac is so close to being a free man. Now, before we get into the specifics, do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And man, let's get it. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about Mac just a little bit. Now, we talked about Mac being a member of No Limit already. He was a standout rap artist, an independent solo artist, and he joined on with the 504 Boys and all that and was on some of their biggest hits, you know what I mean? Like Wobble Wobble, Shake It, Shake It, and stuff like that, right? But Mac ran into an issue in the year 2000, man. He was involved in a shooting that happened at a nightclub called Club Mercedes. Now, in this nightclub shooting, somebody who was allegedly breaking up a fight, a young man by the name of Victor, I believe, and it was at a club called Mercedes. And man, dude ended up getting shot, and you know, it was all bad because it was a show for Mac. Master P said in the No Limit Chronicles that he had told Mac not to go to that show, stop doing these small shows in club venues because there's a high potential for violence, altercations, and him to be right in the middle of it when that venue is that small. And Master P in this situation proved to be 100% right because when the young man lost his life, man, they charged Mac with manslaughter and they gave him 30 years in jail, right? Now, you would think manslaughter, 30 years, that sounds like a lot of time. Mac was 22 at the time, and that case happened over 20 years ago. And Mac has been fighting and pleading his case this whole time that he's been innocent. Now, the Huffington Post has probably been his biggest advocate. They've ran stories so many times about this. I'm talking about they've even done podcasts. They've broken down the case bit by bit. And they've always come up with the conclusion that his music was being used against him unfairly in the trial, which is something we start to see a lot lately, man. We see this a lot in hip hop, man. And it's not even a lately thing because when Boosie was going back in with his trial back in the early 2000s, or should I say the late 2000s, they used his lyrics against him as well. And this has happened again and again and again. And the Huffington Post has pointed this out, and they work with a lot of legal firms just to see if they can get him a fair trial and a fair chance at clemency. Now, there's been times in the past, like back in 2014 and 2015, that his legal team tried to get him clemency or tried to get it so that he could be pardoned paroled, and it just didn't go, man. They weren't going for it. It got shot down. But it looks like today is the day because headlines are reading all over the place, and specifically on the Huffington Post that Louisiana Parole Board votes to grant rapper McKinley Phipps clemency. So Mac, it looks like he finally got a break in his case. Now, this didn't come as soon as they wanted, but man, it's earlier than expected. You know what I mean? He was looking at a 30-year sentence. And this is what the story says specifically. Now, rapper McKinley Phipps Jr., who has been in prison for 21 years and 1 day for a crime he claims he did not commit, may soon be granted clemency following a Louisiana Parole Board's unanimous vote that he be released. So this is how this breaks down. So there's a parole board, and they have to meet, and they vote independently without Mac there, and they just say, hey, either yay or nay, give him a chance at clemency or not. Now, this is just like the first step in a 3-step process. So Next, Mac, he has to go see the parole board himself for another interview, like you might see like in the movies and stuff like that. And then finally, it'll go to the governor's desk, and then the governor will either sign off yay or nay. Now, most of the time, the governor agrees with the parole board. I mean, it's almost like almost an instant, you know what I mean? But there's been times in the past where governors have not agreed with the parole board for whatever various reasons. Now, there's a lot of eyes on this case because there was already a lot of allegations that this case was tried unfairly. Now, even Mac's mom told the reporters at the Huffington Post that she's got a lot of good feelings. I mean, they're really, really excited about this news. They're taking this all as good news, and they've actually communicated with the governor before. So they feel that the governor is a fair person and that this is almost in the bag. You know what I mean? So fingers crossed on that, but it looks like Mac is coming home, man. So everybody is happy, and it looks like it's time for future planning, right? Now, interesting enough, Mac got married back in 2018, while he was a prisoner at the Elaine Hunt Correctional Center there in Louisiana. And he had a lot of people there with him, man. I believe even C. Murder attended the wedding. It was an interesting situation. But it looks like, man, him, his family, and his kids or whatnot, man, they're all hoping for the best in this situation going forward. Now, I'm sure we'll hear an update from Master P or somebody from No Limit about this situation because, you know, him being incarcerated, meaning Mac, it was a big part of the No Limit Chronicles. They touched on it. They did a whole story about his case, how they used his lyrics against him, how he was told not to do those type of shows. I mean, they spent a lot of time on this subject. So with him being paroled, this should be a big thing for their whole side, man, even if he's no longer an artist with No Limit. Now, while incarcerated, it looks like he kept up being an artist, and he also helped other artists, you know, establish their craft and set up a music program at different institutions that he was at, man. He even connected with C. Murder while he was on the inside, and, you know, they talked about things and actually had a moment where they could reflect on the past of being big rap stars. That's got to be a crazy situation when you're a humongous rap star and then you're all of a sudden incarcerated. I know we see it in hip hop a lot, but think of how dynamic of a fall that is. I mean, 1 second you can do no wrong. You're a humongous rap star. And then next thing you know, you're in jail just like the rest of the inmates doing everything that the other inmates do. Now, no man or no woman are better than the other, but man, that is a fall from grace like no other. Now, with that being said, this is amazing news for Mac, his family, and everybody involved. Now, what do you guys think, man? Do you think that Mac, once he's granted clemency, man, he should get back into doing music again? Or has he phased out, or is he too old to get back into music and recording? Or should Mac just go into doing something to help other people like yourself who he feels were wrongly accused in unjust situations? Because it seems like there's an opportunity for that in the music industry a lot these days. Now with that, this has been your boy Big Man. Please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. And make sure you hit that notification bell so that way you get a notification every time I drop this hot content. And we out of here. Peace.